Hello there, everybody. My name is Austin. I am with Team 5576, Team Terminator, and I'm going to be going through some of these different things. I'm making a video series to hopefully help future programmers or programmers from other teams, whoever may need it, on doing each of these things. So, of course, with this being the first video, we are going to open it up by installing the IDE and update suite, which it's actually not the update suite this year. It's called FRC Game Tools, I believe. So, how I tend to go about doing this, and something else to keep in mind, is this is for the 2020 season. Things do tend to change from year to year slightly. So if we just go ahead and type in Google 2020 FRC software, um, okay, here we go. This is what we want. So it's actually going to be moved to this website, I believe, moving forward each year. So if we go ahead and copy and paste that in here, so this is where the majority of our information is going to be found for each of these different things. So that for this first thing we're going to do is we want to look at installing our stuff. So if we go into a component overview, we don't use FRC or LabVIEW, sorry. Um, we do use VS Code. We use the driver station, smart dashboard, um, Roborio imaging tool. A few of these things. This is just kind of a quick overview. We don't need really either of these. These are good to go through if you're new to robotics and kind of gives us an overview of the different types of things that we might be looking at and things we might be using. Um, so now if we go into here, as you can see, we have a couple of different installers. So we're going to want to download the Game Tools installer. So if we open that into a new window, and then we're going to want to scroll down, and you see this download file. We're not going to do that one because I ran into some issues. I found it's best if you go to the individual offline installer here. This will also allow you to put it on a USB drive and then transfer it to other computers. Speaking of which, I'm going to plug that in right now. So I do actually have these files downloaded. So I'm just going to go ahead and click a download. So if you see, it'll look like this. The disk means it's an ISO file, which is essentially something that we'll be able to mount. So that way it thinks we have a CD and then install it off the CD image. So I'm just going to cancel that download since I already have it. And then the FRC radio configuration utility, we will need that too. I do have that one downloaded as well. So that one just downloads automatically. We're going to want this one, not the Israel version. And we're also going to want to go to here. So this is our actual WPI library. So this downloads our code that we're going to be using, or our IDE, um, which is essentially where we write all of our code. So if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see this is the latest version. And then find the installer that we're using. All of our stuff that we have is going to be Windows 64, so that's the one that you'll need there. And then it will also download as a zip file. So since I already have all of those on a USB drive, if you were to go to downloads, it'd show up in here under your most recents. But since I have them on a USB drive, we're going to open that up, and I have them all in. I put them all in a singular folder right here. So this is everything that we need. Um, so we're just going to minimize some of this stuff. So if we have this folder open, we can then go through each of the different installs. So first thing that we're going to want to do is do the WPI library installer. So we'll just run this file right here. I guess it's also important to say that when you have it here, in order to get this folder from this type of file, if you do extract files, or extract, it'll say extract somewhere. I have a different application that does it for me. But if I were to just hit extract here, it'll go through and then it will turn it into a file for you. So we're not going to worry about that for right now since I also already have that done. So the WPI library installer, go ahead and install that for all users. And then you're going to want to select and download VS Code. Now, if you haven't done it on another system before, you're going to want to hit download and it'll do it automatically for you. It'll start downloading it. And once that's done, you go ahead and hit execute install. But since I already have it downloaded, that's this file right here. And this is just the same folder where you launched this from. So then go ahead and execute the install. Make sure all these boxes are checked. And we're going to wait a second for it to do that. Okay, so now this installer is done. So we can go ahead and close that. So that's the first part. Now we're going to go ahead and go into the second part. So the next big part is doing this offline installer. So if you right click on this and go ahead and hit the mount button and then run the install, just going to ask if you want to make changes or want to allow it to make changes. Go ahead and hit yes. It'll open up NI Package Manager. Go ahead and just accept. And then this part takes some time and it's going to go ahead and go through installing a bunch of different things. And yep, it closes and opens back up. So go ahead and allow it to do that one as well. And you're going to have to accept a couple separate things. Okay, so once that other stuff's done, it's going to say it's checking for licenses. You're going to need to sign into an account, so you can either sign in to one that's already made, or you might need to make one. And then we don't actually have the serial number for this, and we don't really use it, so we're just going to go ahead and X out of this. So then it's going to say we need to reboot to complete the operation. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. Okay. Hello everybody, we are back after the restart, and everything installed properly. So you're now going to go back into our software, and we have one last thing, which is that radio configuration. So it downloads like this, and don't forget you have to extract it, and that will give you this folder. So then you can open up this application folder, and go ahead and hit yes, and just kind of click through the different prompts here, and then hit install. So then it's going to say a couple other things might pop up, and just go ahead and follow the prompts. So it says this thing isn't installed, so we're going to go ahead and we're just going to install what it asks us to. So it's going to have to install this other program, so we're going to go ahead and let it. And we want to make sure you select I want to manually reboot later, otherwise it will fail this install. And all of this stuff, there's step-by-step instructions on the WPI library website that we got these downloads from. So that's completed. We'll go ahead and hit finish. So it goes back to this install, and that is done. And it showed up right here. And that's essentially everything for installing your software. So we have our code. This is where we're actually going to write our code. We don't really use this, and this will open automatically. Next thing we're going to look at is using these two programs here, the FRC radio configuration utility and the RoboRio imaging tool, to learn how to flash and reinstall the firmware and stuff, the new firmware that comes with each year, as well as doing updates and stuff later throughout the season. So that is all for this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.